Hi everyone, this is Miss Chrisman and this is your word study video for Wednesday, May 20th. Today for your ABC countdown, it's B Day and it's beach day. And that means that you can get dressed up like you're going to the beach. I have my flowers on, like I'm going somewhere tropical. I wish we could go somewhere nice and warm and spend some time on the beach. But right now we'll just have to do it in our houses in our beach day clothes. I can't wait to see what you guys are wearing, so don't forget to share your pictures. Let's review some of the words that you already know before we jump into learning two new ones. We learned a word that means if something is so gross, it is like, oh, the smell almost makes you want to barf. The way it looks almost makes you feel sick. It is repulsive. And we learned that if you're working really hard on a goal and then you get it, that means that you accomplished your goal. And if you have a smile that makes other people smile, then your smile is contagious. But also, wear face masks because coronavirus is very contagious. And if you have something but you like to share it with other people, you don't just want to keep it for yourself, you are very generous. And you're working hard and growing your brain so much because you are very intelligent. And if you feel like you're really sure of yourself and you know how awesome you are, then you are confident. Those are all the words we're going to review today. Let's get ready to learn two new ones. Okay, the first word we're going to learn might not be a new word for you, but I think it will be a really good word for you to write a sentence about and to really start using when you're talking to people and impressing people with it. The word is curious. Curious. Let's clap it out. Curious. Curious. 3. Sound it out on your paper now. Curious. There's my marker. Curious. Curious. Okay, check your work. Okay, let me tell you about the word curious. The word curious describes somebody that really wants to figure things out. A curious person might have a lot of questions. A curious person might spend a lot of time trying to get the answers to things and figure it out. You could be curious about a lot of things, like everything. You could ask a lot of questions about everything, and that makes you curious. Or you could be curious about one specific thing. Like, for example, Zaire in Rochester is really curious about animals. And because he's so curious about animals, he spends a lot of time reading animal books and watching animal videos and learning as much as he can about animals because he's curious about animals and he wants to know as much as he can. In the book Curious George is always getting himself into a little bit of trouble, but not because curious means that he's a troublemaker. It's because when he's so curious about things, he just wants to go figure it out right away. But sometimes you have to ask a question instead of just going to figure it out. And that's why Curious George gets himself into a little bit of trouble. So curious is a really good thing. It's not that he's a troublemaker. I want you to think about something that you're curious about that you want to learn more about, or a time that you were curious and you asked a lot of questions? And write about that on your paper now. Okay, if you need a little bit more time, you can pause the video, but let me show you what I wrote. I said, I am curious about when coronavirus will be under control so we can go back to school. So I've been trying to spend a lot of time listening to scientists talk about what they know about coronavirus and listening to experts share what they're learning about how coronavirus spreads and how we can help stop that spread. Because I'm so curious about when it's going to be over so that we can go back to school and back to our regular life. I'm curious about what you're curious about. So don't forget to share your sentence at echristman@ebrook.org. The next word we're going to learn is a really happy word. The word is delighted. Delighted. Let's clap it up. Delighted. Delighted. 3. Before you sound it out, I hear the word light in it. If you think about the way you spell the long I sound in light, you'll be able to spell this word the right way like you'd see it in a book. Delighted. 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 Okay, check your right. Delighted. See, IGH says I. Okay, let me tell you about the word delighted. Delighted means that, well, let me give you some examples and see if you can figure out what it means. So this is a true story. The other day, Mr. Scott had to pick something up and he lives pretty close to my house. He lives like 6 minutes away. So Mr. Scott drove over to my house. We still stayed really far apart from each other, but he was picking up some clothes for his wife that I had for him. And so he came over to come get those, and I was so delighted to see him. It was just made me feel so happy to see my friend that I hadn't seen in such a long time. I was delighted. What do you think the word delighted means? Delighted means like you feel really happy and really bright and really good. Like delighted is just a very good feeling. You can feel delighted about something, like you can see a person that you are excited to see and they make you feel delighted. You can just feel delighted because you have something exciting coming up that makes you feel delighted. It's just a very happy feeling. It's not the same feeling as excited, where you're like, oh, I'm so excited. Like you're not so kind of like frantic about it like you are when you're excited. You just feel really happy and like bright. So I want you to think about a time that you were delighted, or someone or something that makes you feel delighted. Maybe you're going to be delighted when you finally get to give me a hug again, or give your friends a hug again. I want you to think about what makes you feel delighted and write about it now. I'm writing, I was delighted to see Mr. Scott. Okay, if you need a few more seconds, pause this video, but I want to share my sentence with you. I ended it with an exclamation point because I was so excited. I wrote, I was delighted to see Mr. Scott because I hadn't seen him in so long. Delighted. Everybody say that new word? Delighted. Today we learned 2 new words. We learned that if you really want to figure things out, then you are very curious. And if something makes you feel happy and bright, then that makes you feel delighted. I can't wait to see your sentences and your beach day pictures, and then I can't wait to see you tomorrow.